So if you follow me on TikTok or you watch my most recent YouTube video, you might have seen I made a video basically power scaling or showing off how powerful Insomniac Spider-Man is. And someone who's been arguing with me over the past couple days over this version of the character made his own video of an inaccurate scale of the character. And I know for a fact he watched my video because, for one, he commented under my video that I posted on TikTok. It was basically like a snippet or like a promotion of this YouTube video of my Insomniac Spider-Man scale. And he also used my exact same numbers for the crane strength feat in his video that I used in my video. And for 3, lastly, he mentions other things in his videos that are basically mentions to my video, but we'll get to that later. So let's get into debunking some of the things he got wrong in his video and comments I've made under his video about it, like calling him out on this shit. And also, I'm gonna try to keep this somewhat respectful. I know it's gonna somewhat sound like I'm like being like an asshole somewhat in this video, but that's just kind of how I talk. Don't get too offended by it. And normally I would be coming off very disrespectful or just making people sound like a fucking idiot, but this dude seems like he's pretty cool, I guess. Despite his obvious hate or dislike for Insomniac Spider-Man for whatever reason, because he talks about things about 616 Peter and then tries to use those same things against Insomniac's Peter when you could say the same thing for 616 Peter. But I'll get to that later in the video and you'll see. So without further ado, let me get into debunking this video.
When it comes to speed, Spider-Man is clearly capable of being able to dodge Electro's electricity-sized lightning-based attacks. Lightning on average is capable of being able to move at 270,000 miles per hour, which is around 50% the speed of light, or Mach 351.
So off rip, this doesn't really correlate to anything, but lightning does not move 50% the speed of light, and electricity moves much faster than lightning. And Electro's attacks aren't lightning-based, they look like lightning, but they are electric-based. So his attacks move at the speed of electricity, just like every other version of Electro. But electricity is 50% the speed of light.
So when it comes to his speed, he definitely is fast within his own right, but when compared to other Spider-Man in the multiverse, like in the comics, especially to that of Earth 616 Peter Parker, who has been shown to be able to dodge things moving at light speed and light speed attacks, which would casually put 616 Peter Parker's speed feats from hypersonic to all the way to light speed. You could make an argument saying his speed is FTL, which honestly wouldn't be a problem.
Now keep in mind, I do love 616 Spider-Man. I think that's pretty obvious if you follow me. Spider-Man's my favorite fucking character, and this is not even fucking remotely close. I almost love Spider-Man more than I love my own mom. But notice how he says 616 Spider-Man can be argued above FTL or faster than light, but he doesn't keep that same energy when scaling Insomniac Spider-Man, and I'll get back on that in a second.
There are people who do think that Insomniac Spider-Man's speed should be relative to around light speed because of his interaction with Otto Octavius, aka the Superior Spider-Man, which it isn't at all. Because I'm pretty sure if we all read Spider-Geddon issue 0 the same, that we should know that Otto Octavius, when he showed up to Peter's universe, he was not trying to fight or even hurt Spider-Man at all, because his whole purpose of why he even showed up to his universe in the first place was to recruit him so that way they could battle the likes of the Inheritors. People who keep trying to use this scan of Peter and Otto being able to react to each other when throwing their webs at each other, trying to justify that this arguably makes their speed relative, is really stupid, let alone the massive speed differences between the two. Again, within the context of the story, Otto Octavius did not show up to battle or even hurt Peter Parker in the first place, and especially considering the fact that Peter struck him first, calling him a variant. Otto and Peter being able to react to each other should be expected, considering the fact that Otto Octavius in Peter Parker's body can casually react to the same things that Insomniac Spider-Man can do. So anybody who keeps trying to say that Insomniac Spider-Man is capable of reacting to the same things that 616 Peter Parker can do is just blatantly wrong, because not only is he slower than Peter Parker, he's also slower than Otto Octavius, Ben Reilly, Miles Morales in both the comics and the video game, and then some.
There's a lot to go over here. The context of this scan that shows that they are relative to each other. He acts as though Insomniac Spider-Man is going all out while Superior Spider-Man isn't trying, which is just not true at all. Looking at the context of the situation, Superior Spider-Man is trying to recruit Insomniac Spider-Man as quickly as possible to deal with the threat of the Inheritors. So it would make sense for him to want to overpower Insomniac Spider-Man to get him to listen to the situation, especially considering Insomniac Spider-Man attacks him first. And after seeing that, Otto should have known he was gonna have to fight him for a second, and with him wanting to recruit Insomniac Spider-Man as quickly as possible, it would make sense for him to try and overpower Insomniac Spider-Man, especially considering how experienced and intelligent he is, and knowing how powerful a Spider-Person can be. And let's also remember that Superior Spider-Man doesn't know what this version of Spider-Man is like. This could be a version of Spider-Man that isn't holding back and goes all out. So Superior Spider-Man would definitely be cautious and especially on edge after Insomniac Spider-Man attacks him right after they first meet. So he could even be trying harder than Insomniac Spider-Man in this situation. And since mostly every version of Spider-Man is always holding back, we can assume that they are both holding back here. And since they are both showing relativity in this situation, it shows that they are relative. And since they are relative while holding back against each other, it also shows that they would be relative while going all out. Because if 616 Spider-Man is so much faster than him, if his speed was so much faster than Insomniac Spider-Man, then he should have been able to tag him while they were both going at the same speed and holding back. And like I said in my original video, that further backs this up, and this is also not far-fetched, seeing as Insomniac Spider-Man literally dodges things like electricity and lightning casually and consistently. So dodging light speed attacks and all the other crazy shit 616 Spider-Man has done isn't like anything like crazy for Insomniac Spider-Man to be able to do, considering they literally stalemated the first time they met. You can also speed blitz Electro. And he did this twice throughout this one mission, and you can web strike him while doing the boss fight. Electro's a character who can move around like this.
Spider-Man, I thought this was a chase! Can't stop me! But I'm flattered that you...
And also keep in mind, he's dodging Electro's electricity while being mid-air and still having 14 broken bones, which would most definitely hinder his movement. Insomniac Spider-Man with 14 broken bones, again I have to mention, and being mid-air is dodging electricity casually and dodging Vulture's attacks at the same time, which would have his spider sense going crazy, and he is still dodging these attacks casually with 14 broken bones being mid-air. And to keep backing this up even more, with Otto not wanting to waste time in recruiting Insomniac Spider-Man, him and Insomniac Spider-Man both get hit by Insomniac Spider-Man's web bomb in the same way. So if they really weren't relative in terms of speed, 616 Spider-Man would not have gotten hit by this web bomb, because he would have known that it would have wasted time, and he does not want to waste time in this situation. And then it shows that they are relative in terms of recovering from this, with Insomniac Spider-Man even moving a bit faster than 616 Spider-Man, who once again would actively be trying to rush this situation and get it over with as quickly as possible. And to keep backing this up even more, every time we see them moving with each other in action or web swinging or just moving with each other, Insomniac Spider-Man is either moving at the same pace or faster than 616 Spider-Man. So for the last time, they are relative in terms of speed, so stop trying to downplay Insomniac Spider-Man. And something you also say that contradict this, you literally say,
Otto and Peter being able to react to each other should be expected, considering the fact that Otto Octavius and Peter Parker's body can casually react to the same things that Insomniac Spider-Man can do.
You literally just admitted that they can casually react to the same type of stuff, yet you still say they are nowhere near each other in terms of speed, which is just factually incorrect, as shown by this entire fucking issue of this book. It makes no sense to me why you're trying to downplay this man. Like, if you love Spider-Man, why are you trying to downplay one of the best adaptations of him? It makes absolutely no sense to me. Like, you'll say this for 616 Spider-Man, right?
Especially to that of Earth 616 Peter Parker, who has been shown to be able to dodge things moving at light speed and light speed attack, which would casually put 616 Peter Parker's speed feats from hypersonic to all the way to light speed. You could make an argument saying his speed is FTL, which honestly wouldn't be a problem.
But then you won't keep that same energy for this entire fucking book that shows that they are relative to each other. And the last thing I'll mention on the topic of speed is the fact that he says Insomniac Miles is faster than Insomniac Peter. Where did you pull this out of your ass from? Because Miles has no speed feats better than Peter's, other than the fact that they are semi-relative to each other. So no, Miles is not faster than Insomniac Peter. Alright, now moving on.
This is going to definitely cause some controversy among people in the comment section, but newsflash, AP does not always equal durability.
What you said here is true, because someone could be using some type of gadget or something to boost their attack power, but in the context of where you're punching someone, you're going to be exerting the same amount of force that you're going to be getting back on your body. So if you're punching someone, you're going to feel the same amount of force that you like put into that punch. But in the sense of comics, this is often very inconsistent, so it all depends on certain contexts of like certain situations. Like, think about it like this: if you were to punch a brick wall, you might break your hand, while the wall would just be completely unfazed. But the wall is still feeling that same amount of force that you just felt going onto your body. But that doesn't mean the wall was damaged, and that also doesn't mean that you're as durable as the wall. But if you were to like punch a hole through the wall or to like break the wall, that's a completely different story than like you just barely damaging the wall. And that's literally just like a scientific fact.
Spider-Man as a character is capable of being able to cause damage and eventually put down the characters like the likes of the Rhino, but how powerful is the Rhino compared to Spider-Man? Rhino as a character has been shown to be able to casually throw cars, empty crates, jump through walls, and eventually cause damage to a regular sized building. Rhino being capable of being able to do all these things will casually put his AP at around building level. There is also a statement in Rhino's official bio that says in one of Spider-Man's encounters with the Rhino that he was capable of being able to destroy 6 city blocks. However, the statement is slightly a bit vague and hyperbolic, and it never establishes how long it took Rhino to do this, so realistically, he definitely could be capable of doing this, but that would fall on the lines of his DC and not his AP. Essentially, when it comes to Rhino's destructive capacity, he is definitely capable of being able to to destroy city blocks within a very long period of time. However, when it comes to a short period of time, Rhino is only capable of being able to cause damage to walls and regular sized buildings. And considering the fact that Rhino isn't affected by running through walls and being able to cause certain damage to certain buildings, Rhino's durability would casually be around building level. So Rhino is an example of characters in fiction whose AP and durability actually are equal, but when it comes to Spider-Man, it isn't that consistent, and we'll get to that later on when we talk about his durability. So since we know that both Rhino's AP and durability are relatively the same, and Spider-Man is capable of damaging and eventually putting down the Rhino, that would mean that Spider-Man would have to be executing building level plus AP to even affect, phase, or even damage the likes of Rhino.
I think something that you're not really putting into context here is the fact that Spider-Man is still holding back and is actively weakened because he has 14 broken bones. Not only just having 14 broken bones, he sustained damages from Electro and Vulture while fighting them, and a couple of other things that he went through before fighting Rhino as well. And the fact that you said Rhino is only building level, which is just not true. Because for one, we literally just watched him take a small building level explosion and then immediately after take a large building explosion. And on top of all the buildings and bullshit that he ran into on screen and off screen, he was unfazed by both of those explosions and still kept going. And then it still took Miles multiple hits from his Venom Blast to just put down Rhino. So saying Rhino is only building level is fucking just insane. Like actually blasphemous. Bananas, one might say. And going back to the character bio, it literally says Rhino was able to demolish 6 city blocks. And this was while Spider-Man was fighting him in the past. So an unhinged Rhino doing like whatever, like say in a sandbox of a city with nobody going back toward at him. He is city block level at a minimum. And the max amount of energy that Miles Morales has been shown to like absorb was stated to be able to destroy all of Harlem. So let's keep in mind that Miles is actively hitting him multiple times with his electric blast and before that with his regular punches, and also taking hits from Finn, who is able to damage Miles, and also taking electrically charged from Miles exploding engine parts to the face, and that's what it took for Miles and Finn to be able to take down Rhino the second time. So this would put Rhino at around city block level at a minimum and small city level. Now someone could say Miles wasn't absorbing the amount of energy that was needed to destroy all of Harlem, but like I said, he did all that in one absorption. But meanwhile, while he's fighting, he is constantly letting go of the energy inside of him. So since we've seen that Miles is able to build up that much energy, and he builds up energy constantly while he's fighting, it is not far-fetched to be able to say that Miles was actively gaining like the similar amount of energy that was needed to destroy all of Harlem throughout this entire fight. Only this amount of energy was being built up throughout this entire fight against Rhino. So with his character bio saying that Rhino can demolish 6 city blocks, and what he did and endured in the beginning of Miles Morales, and taking punishment from Finn, who was definitely not holding back that much, and if you played the game, you know she really wasn't holding back like that. So he's taking punishment from Finn, who is able to damage Miles' regular attacks, exploding electric-based engine parts, and Venom punches from Miles, and we've seen how much energy Miles can build up. It is not far-fetched to say that Rhino is small city level, and he is stated to be city block level at a minimum, demolishing 6 of them while fighting Peter in the past.
However, when it comes to Spider-Man's durability, he is not capable of being able to take or even withstand punishment from the Rhino for a very long period of time.
Except for the fact that Peter did do this in his past, when he was most likely weaker because Spider-Man gets stronger as he gets older, or like from his teenage years to like more like 20-year-old years. So Peter was able to beat Rhino after destroying 6 city blocks, and we also just saw from the beginning of Miles Morales what that was like for Peter to go through, to a smaller extent I might add, and he still beat him in the past, so he can take that amount of punishment from Rhino while still being able to beat him and keep fighting, because it literally says I beat him after he destroyed the 6 city blocks. And I'm about to put to bed this whole entire next thing he's about to say because I already did in my video.
And that is ultimately backed up in Spider-Man Miles Morales when he ultimately ends up being beaten by the Rhino and Miles has to step up and beat him. But since we have gone over Rhino's AP and he has been shown to clearly be capable of besting Spider-Man in a fight, that would mean Spider-Man's durability would be around wall to arguably small building level.
Wall to small build? Are you fucking drunk? I think I've made it pretty clear by the fact that Rhino has been beaten by Spider-Man multiple times and Rhino has never beaten Spider-Man in his past up to this point, makes Rhino beating Spider-Man here a fucking outlier and plot armor for Rhino, just to put Miles up on a pedestal for his game. And I already went over that in my video, so I'm not even gonna touch on that because it is fucking plot armor whether you want to accept it or not. Oh, looky here! Kraven is overpowering 616 Spider-Man. Oh my god, that must mean that Kraven can always overpower Spider-Man, right? You know, the guy that's been able to lift up trains? That guy, right? Oh, no, but let me guess, that's plot armor for Kraven in that scenario, right? Like, it's fucking, oh my. Just to make it clear, I do think that's plot armor, because Kraven should not be able to overpower Spider-Man. He's a fucking human being, for some iterations of him. But what he says in this comment where I was arguing with him, he's saying that Spider-Man Spider-Man, 616 Spider-Man has done greater feats that dwarf his anti-feats. And this is me saying this is the same exact situation because Rhino has been beaten by Insomniac Spider-Man multiple times. So him beating Spider-Man here is an outlier and it is plot armor. And like I mentioned in my scaling video, Electro's attack potency is large building level. And Spider-Man was able to take this hit and not even be phased by it. While he has 14 broken bones in this fight. Like, oh my god. So he is able to take a large building level attack casually and not even be fucking phased by it. Like it's, oh my god. Jesus, I'm running out of breath in these fucking sentences. Don't smoke, kids.
You can make an argument saying that his durability will be up to building level on the high end, which is fine. It's a bit of a stretch, but that's fine. You can make an argument saying that his durability will be up to building level on the high end, which is fine. It's a bit of a stretch, but that's fine. You can make an argument saying that his durability will be up to building level on the high end, which is fine. It's a bit of a stretch, but that's fine. You can make an argument saying that his durability will be up to building level on the high end, which is fine. It's a bit of a stretch, but that's fine.
You serious?
Like, bro, there's just, oh my god. Just admit it. You don't like Insomniac Spider-Man. Just admit it. It's the easiest thing to do here. You and me both know that literally every fucking comic character, and including Spider-Man a lot, gets nerfed for the plot. Look at Spider-Man's newest fucking runs who are being written by Batman fans. This motherfucker Spider-Man can't break out of a fucking steel chains. He can't break out of steel fucking handcuffs. This is 616, by the way. And you're gonna sit here and try to say that Rhino beating Spider-Man wasn't plot armor when 616 Spider-Man has so much shit that goes against him, like, plot-wise. It's fucking, like, oh my fucking god, it's insane.
When it comes to combat and skill, however, this is kind of where it gets a little complicated. Has this Spider-Man been shown to be skilled enough to be able to combat all of his villains on more than one occasion? Yes. Is this Spider-Man capable to be able to best some of these villains and possibly other new villains that will show up in the franchise in combat? Yes. While Spider-Man is clearly capable of being able to fight his own villains separately or sometimes within a pair, he is not capable of being able to handle all of them at the same time. Even though he has battled the likes of Taskmaster, somebody who in the game has been established he has fought members of the Avengers before, it's never established just how skilled his level of Avengers are in his universe. Not to mention when it came to Taskmaster, Taskmaster was trying to learn the style of Peter Parker, somebody who uses his powers and abilities to be able to fight the way he fights. Peter Parker was ultimately, yes, able to end up besting his Taskmaster. When it comes to other characters in the Insomniac universe who are clearly skilled and are trained in martial arts and are trained how to kill, Peter Parker is just kind of out of his depth. There are some people out there who will try to use Peter Parker's game mechanics and the way he fights in the games and uses his finishes to justify that he knows certain martial arts styles. And all the while, yes, they are impressive, they would just ultimately fall on the lines of them just being that game mechanic stuff for the game, and ultimately just to make this Peter Parker's fighting style look a bit more flashy and out there. I'm not saying that Peter Parker in the narrative isn't capable of throwing certain punches and kicks that may look like it's from an actual style, and even if we were to give it to him to say that he actually knows some moves from some martial arts styles, he's clearly not skilled enough, nor is he even properly trained, that this Spider-Man is clearly well versatile in martial arts and has been trained in them. So overall, when it comes to combat and skill, he is clearly skilled enough to be able to combat with his other villains that he has experience fighting, but when it comes to other fighters who are clearly versatile and skilled in martial arts, he's a bit out of his league.
So first I want to address what he said about the game mechanics and like how many martial arts Insomniac Spider-Man knows. This is just untrue. Everything animation wise that Spider-Man like has in the Insomniac universe is canon to him, obviously. Why the fuck would they give him these animations just for them to say it's not canon? Like, that makes no fucking sense. And also, there's certain, like, ways that some type of game mechanics aren't always canon. Like, for example, the thugs being able to take out Spider-Man in, like, 3 or 4 punches. Like, are we seriously gonna say that's not game mechanics? That's literally just there for the player to have a somewhat of a challenge. And also things like Batman being able to fly from, like, one end of a fucking city block to another while fighting is just, that's called gameplay mechanics. Or Spider-Man looking like he's struggling to lift up cars and, like, the quick time events for, like, crimes around the city. That stuff is game mechanics, because these quick time events are made for like to somewhat, I mean, they're not really challenging, but the quick time events are just put there for like some type of engagement for the player. But in the sense of like his animation style and his fighting style, when the fighting styles we see in cutscenes, if you watch Godzilla Rex's video, also translate to his animations in the gameplay mechanics and fighting style, it shows that he is skilled in every single martial art that Godzilla Rex was able to like spot in his video that I also mentioned in my video. And to further back this up, we literally see Taskmaster using the same moves that Spider-Man's using in the boss fight against him, which he was studying him, which is canon. So him studying the exact same moves that we see in Spider-Man's gameplay mechanic, like animations, are used later against him in the boss fight against Taskmaster. And what are we gonna say now? The Taskmaster boss fight isn't canon? So no, you're wrong about that. His gameplay animations and like the fighting style we see in the game is canon to his character. And another thing he mentions is he says he's out of his league when fighting people with like certain sets of skills in like martial arts who are highly skilled. Are we seriously acting? Like if Spider-Man didn't want to, he couldn't fucking do this to Sable.
I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by it.
The amount of fucking plot armor that Silver Sable has in the Insomniac universe is absolutely fucking insane. And Spider-Man could also do the same shit to Taskmaster.
You can take this seriously, or you can die. You're still holding back.
I'm not trying to kill you!
We get literal in-game dialogue confirmation that Taskmaster knows Spider-Man is still not trying and still holding back. So trying to say he's out of his depth when it comes to martial skill is just fucking stupid. And also in the DLC, Spider-Man's not even taking Sable seriously for real. And this is literally someone who can react to fucking electricity and shit casually, combined with his fucking spider sense. So are we really gonna sit here and act like if Spider-Man didn't really want to, he couldn't dodge every single fucking punch from Sable? Like no, saying Silver Sable could actually even like land a finger on Spider-Man realistically is fucking plot armor. It's no. Especially considering and also adding on to Spider-Man is not exactly a slouch when it comes to like martial arts. Sable couldn't even shoot Spider-Man with her fucking guns, and you think her punches are gonna be moving faster than her fucking laser blast? Like get the fuck out of here. But anyways, this was basically just my debunk of this video. Yvonne, like I said in the beginning of the video, don't take any of this too personally. This is kind of just how I talk. Used to and still does kind of get me into a lot of fights. So yeah, just don't take it too personally. And to everybody else, if you made it this far, I really appreciate all of you. And goodbye.